Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do this butterfly. Now I've done it once before, but I want to do it a little differently this time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm taking some of my Lightwish UV resin and I want to block off the body of this butterfly. Now I'm just using a little bit in between each one of these little kind of openings so that when I put my first layer of resin down, hopefully, in theory, it won't run over the little borders that I'm making. So I'm just kind of taking it with my dotting tool and just putting a few dots in there and then building it up as I need to. I don't want it to be too thick because you're going to see clear on the other side. And I didn't necessarily want to color it because I just didn't want to do that. So we're going to see how this works. Now I am going through on both sides to do this. And what I want to do today is I've not used Epsom salt in resin before. I know that there's a bunch of other people that have, but I haven't tried it. So I kind of want to see what we can do with it. If I can kind of get almost like a frosted look on the back side of this piece, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm going for. The colors that I want to do are purple and red because I think that would be really pretty. So with the one side that has the bigger openings, I got a bunch of different purple and red kind of flowers and leaves and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of placing them down in the spaces that they'll fit. Now I have to do smaller ones because as big as the openings look here, they're really not that big in like real life. So I'm just kind of trying to put them where I can fit them without like smushing or ruining the flowers. And I'm just going to kind of go a little bit of each just to kind of see what we can get in there. And then I have these little tiny like baby mini dried. I don't know if they're actually real flowers or what they are. They kind of look like it, but I don't know. And they'll fit in some of the super small spaces that we have. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do this. Now I am putting it on just my dry mold. Like there's no resin in there as of yet. And I already had mixed my resin, so I did go ahead and divide it into 3 cups. I'm doing red glitter, purple glitter, black glitter for the body, and then just the clear, just so I don't have an issue with it going off on me, because of course I didn't think about how long it was going to take me to place all of these before I mixed it, but it's fine. It'll be fine. Okay, so I'm just going to add the last few. Now, I typically do when I do flowers, this is how I normally do it. I normally lay them down first so that I have the placement worked out already before I pour my resin in, and then I'll just kind of move the flowers around so that I don't have an issue with bubbles getting caught underneath or anything like that. And it's normally fine except for today, but we'll talk about that later. Now, what I'm going to do is this side is going to be clear. So I want to start getting this resin in here and kind of getting these flowers covered and all of that. And I'm just drizzling it in with my popsicle stick. And the main reason for that is, well, there's a couple. These holes are tiny, like the little in between, like it looks like I'm doing this great job and I'm not making a mess, but in reality, not so much. Like it's hard to get a nice thin line of resin in there in between these little spots without overpouring into those holes that are going to be the voids later on. And I also don't want too much resin in on this first layer because we're working backwards. So when I take it out, like this is going to be the front. I mean, you're not, the front is touching the mold, like if that makes sense. So everything is I'm working backwards. There we go. Jesus. Okay. Words are not my friend today. All right. So the resin right now, I have it in there. It's just kind of doing its thing. This way it can start flowing and moving around while I mix up my black resin. Now I want this packed with glitter. I don't want any like see-throughiness. I want it to be jam-packed. So I'm using a fine glitter on there, and when I hold up my popsicle stick, if I can see clear through there, there's not enough glitter and I need to add some more. Once I can hold it up and all I see is glitter, then I know that I'm at the consistency that I want as far as glitter goes in here. And then I'm just going to start adding the body to it. Now, when I work with glitter, I like to use these little paper cups for a couple of reasons. One is that I hate cleaning glitter off of my cups. Like, I despise it. There's nothing worse in the world because it just doesn't ever want to come off the right way. And then you get bumpy, chunky, dried stuff. I just don't want to do it. And two, because I can pinch it and make a spout out of it. So that will be more ideal for something like this where you're working in tiny little areas. Now I am just kind of slowly with a thin line pouring it in. Again, I don't want to go over those little walls that I built and have it leaking into the other side, so I need to keep it a very, very, very thin layer. And besides that, we're putting on 2 more layers after this, so the mold's not, super crazy deep, so I do need to be careful on what I'm doing. And then I'm just kind of working it into all of the areas that I want it to make sure that there's no air bubbles, because when you pour the resin in like I did and you don't just let it kind of find its own way, especially in these tight little spaces like the antenna on here, it'll look like it's in there, but it's just kind of sitting on top between the two sides of your mold, and it's huge air bubble underneath. So you do need to kind of work it and make sure that there's nothing setting under there and you're not going to get stuck with huge holes. All right, so here's where I have an issue. Typically, when I put my flowers down and then put my resin on top, I can pick my flowers up and move them around and get the resin to go underneath and whatever. I don't know what happened, but some of these flowers like suctioned themselves and got stuck to the mold, and I couldn't lift them off. Like, I tried. A few of them, no, like the majority of them, I didn't have any issues, but there are a few that once I put them down there, that was it. They were down there for good. And I don't know, but when I was trying to lift them, they wouldn't lift up, and they were just tearing. So I kind of had to leave them like they were. So I don't know what its problem was. I've never had that issue before, but of course we're gonna have it today. So we'll see what happens. I kind of have a feeling I'm going to get some bubbles under there, but I don't know. All right, so now for the more detailed part of this butterfly. Now we're doing the red and the purple. And I'm just going to kind of half the wing. I'm going to start with the purple up at the top and then kind of go into the red. And I just think that that's going to be really pretty. Now, again, this is the same. Actually, this side is worse. If you've never used this mold, is worse than the other side because it looks like you have all these wide open areas when in fact you really don't. There are a bunch of teeny tiny little areas, and most of what you're looking at is actually the void that is going to be there when you demold this piece. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece, but it is a pain in the butt to work and to make sure that you don't have any air trapped like I was talking about before. So I am going to take my time and I'm going to kind of slowly put this resin in. Now I do have this sped up because it took me a hot minute to do this. So I am going way, 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 way slower than even what it looks like I'm going now. And I'm just going to kind of, in those bigger areas, put a bunch in there and let it start finding its own path into where I want it to go. Again, paying mind that I'm not going to overfill it too much because I don't want it to combine with that black. On this side, it's not going to make as much of a difference, I don't think, but it's the clear side that I'm super worried about. So I need to make sure that none of these sides are going to touch. Like, they're all going to be separate pieces. And then after I'm done with this side, we're going to go back to the flower side, and I am going to add some purple and some red glass glitter because I think it's really pretty. But as I kind of go through kind of the rest of this, I'm just going to put on some background music for you guys and just kind of watch how I do it. But that's pretty much all that's going to be this layer. And then I will come back when we're ready for the next step.
Red and purple wings so bright, dancing in the morning light. I see you fluttering on high, watching over from the sky. Every whisper in the breeze feels like comfort and like peace. peace. I know you're never far away. In my heart you'll always stay. Butterfly in the sky, mother's love will never die, guiding us with gentle grace, forever in this sacred space. Memories like summer's glow in the flowers where you go. Every petal tells a tale of a love that will prevail. Though your body's flown away, in our hearts you'll always stay. Red and purple wings so free, you're the angel that we see. When the sunsets paint the sky, colors blend like you and I. Feel your presence by our side, in your wings we can confide. Red and purple wings so bright, dancing in the morning light. I see you fluttering on high, watching over from the sky. Every whisper in the breeze feels like comfort and like peace. I know you're never far away. In my heart
I'm back. So
it's
it's looking very promising at this point. All right, so now for this step, I am adding a little bit of Rolio Pearl White for that kind of super sparkle. Now, this is the part that I decide that I'm going to do the Epsom salt in. Now, I am going to go over the entirety of this piece with it. Now, I realize that all the parts with glitter aren't going to matter. That's fine. It's whatever. It's mainly for the clear side. So I am kind of filling up. I didn't mix up a whole lot of resin because I knew that the majority of it was going to be me adding the Epsom salt to it because I want it to be super, super thick, right? I don't want to see the clear through it. I want to have like a frosted glass kind of appearance behind the flowers. That's what's in my brain. However, at this point, well, not yet, because I haven't made it that far, I do start questioning every decision I have made in my life that led me up until here. Because this was the absolute, I don't want to say worst thing I could have done, but it was damn near close. It looks like, you know, everything's going fine in these big areas and whatever. But remember how we were talking before and I was like, "Oh, you know, it's these holes are a lot smaller than you think and it's hard to get a stream of normal, regular, thin resin through here." I don't know what in my brain made me think that if it was hard to have that go in there, putting a chunky layer of Epsom salt in here was a wise decision. Let me just say that this part right here, because I had to work it, and I mean work it, into every little hole. Now, it would have been one thing if maybe I just said screw it and been smart. I wasn't. And just did the side that I'm working on now. Because this side wasn't horrible. Like, it was a pain, don't get me wrong. And I made a hella mess. But it wasn't as bad as the other side. But by this point, I was already committed. Like, I had already mixed up all of this Epsom salt into my resin, and I was like, well, I'm doing it now, and instead of just finding another mold to chuck it in and mixing up more resin like a smart person would have done, or just saying the hell with it and just leaving that side because again, like it's not going anywhere. This was so thick, it is not moving. It would have been fine if I'd have just let it be. But no, I decided I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. It took me an hour. Like my resin was getting warm. It was getting really difficult to work with. And it is not ideal when it starts thickening up even more than you've already got it thickened up to work in these tiny little crevices. Like, dumb decision, Nicole. Like, I don't know what she was thinking, but it wasn't good things. And about now, I'm starting to seriously question my decisions. And as I get more into it, I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm over it. I don't even care. I'm just so done because it's thick and it's chunky and it's not flowing. And I want in my brain another not so smart decision. I want to do a white background behind it. Why? I don't know. In my head at the time, it felt like the right thing to do because I wanted a frosted look. Like, and if you look at it now, like if past Nicole was was smart at all, she would have looked at it and been like, "Hey, this doesn't look too bad." Like it actually, even if this was the front of the piece, kind of looks kind of cool with that kind of frosted. You can just kind of see it through there. But no, 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 no. She's not that smart, and she thinks that a white background would be best. Even a clear background would have been better than what I did because I have that kind of frosted look right now. You can see it, you know? And I'm trying not to like fill up this mold that already has a layer in here because I want to leave enough for the next layer, but it's chunky and it's thick and it's not working with me at all. And it's all kinds of just bad. Like, so bad. You don't even know. Like it was terrible. It was not a fun experience. I was over this butterfly before it was even done. Like I don't know. I wish that I would have done things a lot differently. I didn't. So we're gonna just kind of wait and see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna be back for the last layer, and we'll talk more about all my horrible decisions when I get back.
Red and purple wings so bright, dancing in the morning light. I see you fluttering on high, watching over from the sky. Every whisper in the breeze feels like comfort and like peace. I know you're never far away. In my heart you always stay. Butterfly in the sky, mother's love will never die, guiding us with gentle grace, forever in this sacred space. Memories like summer's glow in the flowers where you go. Every petal tells a tale of a love that will prevail. Though your body's flown away, in our hearts you'll always stay. Red and purple wings so free, you're the angel that we see. When the sunsets paint the sky, colors blend like you and I. Feel your presence by our side, in your wings we can confide.
Okay, so I'm back. 24 hours later, it's all dry. Here's another incredibly bright decision I made. I decided that just in case you can see through it, I mean, you can clearly not see through it, but just in case you can, let me add some chameleon flakes to this, because that's just it's smart, right? So the only thing that chameleon flakes were sticking to was my gloves, and it was just a waste of product and a waste of time and just another mess to clean. So yeah, don't do that either. But I thought that if you could see through it, that it would be kind of cool. But I don't know why I thought you could see through it. I just I don't. I wonder what kind of drug she was on when she was making this to make her make so many poor decisions throughout the entirety of this piece. Like, somebody must have knocked her in the head or something, because it's just, yeah, I don't know. So now we've got a nice lumpy, bumpy background here, and we're gonna try to get this white on here and not have it go all over the place, only it's going all over the place, and I already see the issues that I'm gonna have cleaning it, especially in this detailed side where all of the, little flowers and stuff are not the side that I'm working on now, the other side. It's I'm not looking forward to this at all. But we're just gonna keep on with making as many bad decisions as we can possibly make in one piece. And I'm just gonna smooth out. Now for this resin, I am using the Let's Resin, the white resin, because I really like working with it. I think it's really cool. And we're just gonna kind of go over here. But see, at this point, the mold is so full from the Epsom salt layer that it's not needed for one. It's really truly not. Like, I could have gotten away without pouring any more on here, and it would have been better than what it is now. And we're just going to try and work it into all of these little areas and have a white background. Why? I don't know. Just cuz why not, I guess, at this point. Let's just keep going with the bad ideas. Um yeah, so we're going to do this, and this is where I don't know why I thought white was a good idea. I wanted a frosted background. What's white gonna do? It's gonna take away the frosting and make it white. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but I didn't. So here we are. And that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna work it into all of the little grooves and everything, and then we're gonna be done with this and hit it with a heat gun, because it makes a difference at this point. All right, so 24 hours later, here we are. Now it's time to demold this and see what happens. So we, you can already see just on this one side all of the trimming that I'm going to have to do, from the Epsom salt going over and the white going over and just everything. And that side's okay. That side's an easy clean. The side that I'm doing now, not so much of an easy clean with all of those little areas. And yeah, I get it, that it's super easy to kind of break off those pieces at the beginning, when it's soft, and you can just kind of bend them off and whatever, but you don't understand the, like, amount of overpour that I had on this piece. Like, you just don't. And if I would ever get done demolding this, it would be wonderful. Like, it really truly would. Sometime today, please. And look at this. Just look. All right. Come on. Come on. Okay. Did you see all that? Did you see it? And look, I absolutely hate it. I hate every bit of it. And it's not blue. It's actually a really pretty purple. My camera doesn't like purple for some reason, or at least not this shade of purple. All right. So it's just not, I don't, it's not what I wanted. Like, the black, for whatever reason, I had all glitter. And it was not shiny at all. It was very matte. And I don't understand why, because it's not a matte mold. So I don't know what its issue was, but I decided that painting over it with a paint marker was the right decision. Honestly, it took me, I didn't even show you me cleaning it off. For a minute, I set it down. I was going to trash the whole thing because I'm just so upset with how it looks. It took me probably a good hour to clean off what I did. There are some parts of it that I would just screw it. It doesn't even matter. Like, honestly, I'm over this piece. But I did clean off the majority of it, but some of it, like in between the little flowers, it was just so much overpour and it was so thick that it was just too much and I couldn't get it. So anyway, but yeah, so, lessons learned from this, and hopefully, I mean, if nothing else, you can learn from my bad decision making. But that's pretty much it on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will catch you guys on Saturday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Red and purple wings so bright, dancing in the morning light. I see you fluttering on high, watching over from the sky. Every whisper in the breeze feels like comfort and like peace. I know you're never far away. In my heart you always stay. Butterfly in the sky, mother's love will never die, guiding us with gentle grace, forever in this sacred space. Memories like summer's glow,